Hello, I'm Simon. Welcome back to my workshop. Now today I'm going to be doing some maintenance on my boom arm, which provides portable light and power to my workshop. Let's get tinkering. Now I've already made a number of videos about the construction of my boom arm, but it's still not quite right. In its current form it requires a large hinge in the middle of the boom arm so that I can move the light and the power to anywhere in the workshop. But as you can see, the hinge has started to sag, so I need to come up with a different solution. The first thing I need to do is take it down off of the ceiling. So I'm first going to dismantle the wiring, which means unscrewing some of these green 3D printed little tabs that I use to hold the wiring in place. So having fiddled around for an hour or so, just trying different approaches, I think I've come up with an approach that might work. I'm not really going to know until I've assembled it, but it involves having a main boom and then an extending boom which telescopes out. Now, I really don't know if this is going to work once it's on the ceiling and if I'll actually be able to move that telescoping piece or not. It does all hinge on that telescoping piece being able to move nice and smoothly, and I think I'm going to rely only on friction to hold it in place. So I'm going to cut all the lumber to size and assemble it, and then we'll see. So I set about ripping all the parts. This is one of those examples where the auxiliary fence which gets underneath the blade guard doesn't really offer enough support for the piece that I want to cut, so the only way to cut it is to take the blade guard off and be very careful about what I'm doing. I've thinned this piece of plywood, so I'm just sanding it down to make it nice and smooth. And here I'm just ripping down a couple of pine boards to the right width. To give you an idea of how I hope this is going to work, this piece will be inside this box section and it will be able to slide out so that I can get the length that I need to get to the edges of the workshop. If I want to do something closer to the centre of the workshop, I can push it in. Obviously I won't be pushing it in and out like this because it'll be on the ceiling. It'll actually be connected via my lamp. So I'll actually be doing it from this angle here, which might make it a lot harder to pull in and out. I'll only know by actually trying it. I'm thinking also if I wax all of this, it will help with the smoothness of the action. I can now glue the rails in place. I now glue up the other side. And now I add the top. So now I have a wooden tube. All I need to do is trim the ends. I'll take the excess off with a panel saw and then square it up on the table saw. Here I'm just knocking the corners off so that they're not sharp using the hand plane. If you're interested in how a normal person can restore a hand plane, then I've got a video on that. This was my dad's old plane and it was in a terrible state. There are also a few high spots, so I use the plane to level them out. This board will become the weight carrier, but first I need to cut it to length and then rip it on the bandsaw. I cut a hole with a Forstner bit to accommodate the counterweight carrier, and I give the end the same radius that the weights have. Okay, a quick summary of where we are. I've built this wooden tube and a carrier for the counterweights that's going to slot into this wooden tube, and I'll have to glue it in place or put it in place with some thin wedges or something. It's going to be suspended from the ceiling, sort of about here I guess. So I've got to drill a hole through here, put some washers on for it to then hang there. And then at the business end we have a boom arm that can slide in and out so that I can adjust the radius of the boom arm so I can get the light to where I want it. I now need to make the bracket for the lamp to attach to. The lamp is actually an old desk lamp, and I have the stalk of it hanging down, and that makes it low enough for me to be able to manoeuvre the boom arm around the workshop, so it also acts as a handle. I tidy up the edges with a file. So I fabricate a bracket out of aluminium and then screw it to the end of the boom arm. I then threaded an M12 bolt through that bracket, and that's what the lamp will screw onto. I can now drill a hole that the boom arm will pivot around. To protect the wood when it pivots, I'm adding a sleeve. And the sleeve is tapped in place. And now it's time to assemble it back on the ceiling and see if all the changes have actually worked. This did start out as a simple project just to update the hinge and turned into a complete rebuild. So this is video number 4 and attempt number 3 at making a boom arm that can supply electric and light to anywhere in my workshop. We'll see with time if this version actually works and doesn't break. Hopefully this is a better, more robust design than my previous designs. And if you're wondering, yes, I am standing on my workmate. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then please subscribe. And if you've got any questions or queries, leave them in the comments. And I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.